Sales can be really, really tempting. Sometimes you think that you're going to be getting a lot more for the little bit of investment, and you end up walking away with something that you really didn't need, that is just more clutter, and you wasted your time, you wasted your money, you wasted your energy. Isn't that true in life? When you really think about all the time you waste on things that you think are going to net a really big return, and then you realize that they really just wanted your money. So I used to be in retail. And one thing about me that kind of set me apart from a lot of retail associates was that I would not sell my clients something if I knew that they didn't need it. And I would not sell a piece of luggage to somebody if I knew it was just going to fall apart. And because of that, a lot of my clients, my customers would come back to the store when they were ready to buy, and they would specifically ask for me because they knew I was not going to sell them crap. Now, I might have sold them a little bit higher end. However, they appreciated it because they knew that what they were getting was actually going to last. This is the thing you really need to understand, is that sometimes things are priced higher, but the return on investment is it's still going to fall apart. And sometimes something that may seem mid-tier or lower end or cheap even can net a bigger return later. So I'm a very savvy shopper and I hate returning things. I have always hated going back to the store to return merchandise. And then there's people in my life and even who I grew up with where they're like, oh, we'll just buy everything. And if we don't like it, we can return it. But when I became a sales associate, what I noticed is that this screws up the bottom line. It is incredibly stressful to have to go through a return. And so I have a little bit of PTSD when it comes to returning things to the store, which means that if I am going to go and take advantage of a sale, I make sure that everything I buy has a high net return on investment. I did a video over the summer, just around June, on all of my little style hacks and tips. So if you are an empowered mom and you're thinking, oh, I want to get all the style tips, I do have a video on that, on how to dress high end for less. And I did do a little bit of a shopping spree over the summer. I wanted to upgrade my wardrobe. However, I'm also very intentional with it. When you want to buy anything or invest in something or invest in someone, you want to know what the actual net return is going to be. And you want to make sure that it's going to be a lot higher than what you're putting into it. Now, this doesn't mean you put the bare minimum. What this means is that you recognize what you can really invest at the time, and then also see if you're going to get back more than what you initially were buying. So yes, I went out to the store and I spent probably, I don't spend too much because I only have so much to work with and I'm very intentional with my money and I know how to stretch it. But I spent a fair amount on myself and on my kids because my kids needed new things for school, with the idea that these things are going to last. My son got a new backpack. I spent more money than I wanted to spend. And at the same time, I know this backpack is going to last him 3 years. If I go and get the cheaper one, it's going to fall apart within 6 months or less. There's a whole story where when I was a retail associate and assistant manager, somebody came into the store and they had bought a $20 backpack for their 7-year-old. And predictably, it fell apart before the school year ended. We had a 30-day return policy. It was well over 30 days. And he had come in and he's like, I want you to stand by your product. First of all, I didn't make the product, so I couldn't stand by it. And I also, because I was in the company, I couldn't say what I wanted to say at the time, which is that you buy a $20 backpack that's crap. What do you expect is going to happen when your 7-year-old drags it? Just common sense. No, I can't give you your money back. But if you want to complain to head office and tell them that their product is crap, they probably know. And they're trying to get us to sell as many of these crappy products as possible because they just want to move them out. And this again is why people make cheap things that they can just get out there, but it never really fixes your problem. And that's true in life. There are cheap friends where you think, oh, I don't have to put too much effort in and they love me. But then the second you stop paying them, they turn on you. Or there's the really expensive person that you think you're going to get a return on your investment and you keep putting into it, but they are just taking. And they're really not bringing much to the table. They just look shiny. So it's like going and getting that designer thing. And then you realize that they really just slapped designer on the label and hiked up the price, but it doesn't do what you wanted. It falls apart. So you have to be careful when you're investing anything. You want to be looking for quality. And don't be fooled by the pricey label. Don't be fooled by the sale. Don't be fooled by what you see on the outside. You really need to know the substance. So I'll go to the dollar store and I'll pick up a really cute hat. And this ties into another story. Is I've got this really cute hat and it makes me kind of feel like Audrey Hepburn when I wear it. And you've probably seen pictures or something on my Facebook if you follow me. And this hat makes me look really high class. This hat was $4 at the dollar store. But because I was intentional with it and I take care of my things, this hat has still got a really good net return. When I wear that hat, people stop and they compliment me on it. And today, someone actually came up to me while I was in Starbucks and he complimented my hat. Now, I didn't tell him that it was $4 at the dollar store, but it's like, thank you. Yes, it does make me look more put together. And these pearls too. I mean, I got these at Claire's. I didn't go and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on pearls because again, you only need to put into the investment what you're going to get in a net return. And you don't always have to put in all of it. And you don't really want to put in all of it. Because if you waste all of your time, all of your money, all of your resources on one thing, thinking that it's going to turn out, that's when you get tricked. So, what does this really have to do with life? I mean, with shopping and everything. It's simple. If you are looking at something cheap and you put the bare minimum in, you may get a cheap thing that falls apart, or it may turn out to be pretty good. You didn't realize at the time that it was going to be useful for you to just pay that $4 and get that hat and have everybody suddenly compliment you and you realize that it really ties your look together and it worked well for the summer. It's just you needed something for your head while you went to the beach and you didn't want a baseball hat. So that's literally what I did is I went to the store and I got a dollar store hat and I just wanted to cover my head. And I realized, oh, this puts my outfit together. In contrast, sometimes you pay a little bit more because you know that the quality is going to be better. I mean, I have no illusions. I know that this hat is probably not going to last very long. It will start to fray. It's a $4 hat. You get what you pay for. But it has also been a little treasure while I can use it. And when I decide to invest a little bit more, maybe I'll get a better hat. But am I going to go, even if I have the money, to go and get the most expensive hat? No. Because when you do that, you end up gouging yourself. Same thing in life. If you see a really highly successful person, but they're a jerk, doesn't matter how much time and energy and things that you put into money, even if you give them money for something, if you're investing in them, If they're a jerk, they're going to turn on you. I mean, there's a name for people like that. I'm not going to say the name, but you know the name. It starts with an N. So you recognize that some people, they get where they are by stepping on others. And no matter how much you think that there's going to be a return on investment, there just never is. They make all these promises, but you never get a return on your investment. Now, people who have been burned before, especially even in shopping, you go into the store and you've been burned before by a salesperson, and they told you that if you invested that money, that you would get like something of high quality, and they convinced you to the upsell, and it turned out that it was crap. How likely are you to buy again? How likely are you to invest in someone or even invest in a relationship that looks really good, but there's just something that feels too good to be true about it, even though it's actually authentic, that has you scared because you've been burned before? When you recognize that every single person in the world is selling something, you can start to become a savvy shopper. And this is where mid-tier works really well, because you invest a little bit and you see what you get in return. And then maybe you will spring for the higher end and be like, you know what? This is a store I can trust. I can trust the salesperson. I know that they're not going to sell me into just anything. So I can trust that when they upsell me, it's for my own interest. Or I can trust this friend, this person who's been standing for me. Like, they're not fake. They're actually genuine. They actually seem to care. I can trust them. They're not trying to get anything out of me. In fact, they're not even asking for the sale. They're just asking for like just a little tiny, tiny bit of my time. And they're okay if I can't do it. So then you go into that relationship. So one of the things that makes this really easy is when you are intentional about what you want, what you are looking for. You do not go into a shop not knowing what you want. Because if you've never been to that shop before, and that shop is run by a salesperson who is like, I got to make my quota. I'm on commission. So, oh, this person doesn't know what they want. Oh, I'm going to tell them what they want. I'm going to tell them that this is the latest style, and I'm going to hand them all the upsells, and I'm going to flatter them, and they are going to buy. I've fallen for that. Especially when I was in college, I fell for that quite often, both in shopping and in relationships. It's never good. It's never good. So you want to be careful, because some salespeople will act like they care just to get your money. But if you are a little bit like, no, I'm not going to buy that. No, I've got boundaries. This is what I'm looking for. They know they can't mess with you because you're intentional about what you want. And this also ties into the work I do with my birth for my clients, because when we're creating a birth plan, we're really creating a shopping list. And with the shopping list, again, if you know what you're buying and you know what you're not buying, you can't be sold. People love to buy. They hate being sold to. And the reason they hate being sold to is buyer's remorse, which then leads to returning things. Now, in the term of a relationship, you bought something, you now have buyer's remorse, and depending on the level of commitment and investment that you put into that, it's messy to get out of that. So then you may try to convince yourself that this is actually what you want, even though you know it's not, and you're just delaying the inevitable. and things fall apart and it gets even messier. It's even harder to return. There's more fees involved in trying to return something. There's more of a hassle. The longer you wait, the more of a hassle it is. If you were shopping in the beginning and you're like, this really isn't what I want, and you don't buy, and you just see and you window shop, eventually you will come to a buying decision. But we don't look at it like that because we have grown up in a consumer society and we've grown up in a society of scarcity. So it's like, if I don't jump on this now, it might be gone and I'll never, ever get a chance to get it again. Well, how many times have you gone in, you bought when there was a sale, and they said that it wasn't coming back in. And then you come back to the store later and you realize they put the same thing on for 75% off. Oh, but your policy for your return is done. So you can't change it. Or you go to a different store and you find that it's sold cheaper there. Or you find something that's actually more of what you wanted somewhere else, but now you've got this other thing that you didn't actually want, but you thought was all you could get. In friendships, in business, in partnerships, in romantic relationships. We sometimes, when we're shopping when we're hungry. We're shopping before we really know what we want. We're shopping and investing before we're clear that the return on our investment is actually like it's legitimate. And I mean, I've made so many mistakes. And I also know people who go shopping and then they have things in their closet that still have tags on them. Sometimes we shop to make ourselves feel good, right? We invest in something because we want to feel good. We go and get a friend and hang out with them just to make ourselves feel good because they're really good for our ego. We go and get into a relationship because they're praising us and making us feel good. But at the same time, it's not it. And you know it's not it. And they can't keep this up forever. And eventually the shininess wears off. And what are you stuck with? So you want something that's going to last over time. You got to be intentional with it. You've got to also let go of all expectations. When I'm going shopping, I'm not there just for the sake of buying. If I go into a store and it's like the intention of I'm going to buy a purse, I want a black purse. Like I actually did this. It's like I want a black purse and I want a certain size of purse and I want it to be like something that I can use that's elegant. I mean, I just bought this. And if I don't find it right away, I'm going to keep looking. Now, when I first went into the same store, they had this style purse and I loved this style, but they didn't have it in black. They had it in white. White's over. I've got my white purse. I don't need a white purse. And I don't need a big white purse because all I need it for is my phone and my cards. That's it. But in the winter, I need to be able to put my gloves in here. So because I needed something bigger, I'm like, no, I need the style and I need the color. So I waited. And wouldn't you know it? There it is. I got it. Now, the other thing is recognizing that this store treats me really well. I have a discount with this store. So I got 20% off. And I know that this purse is going to last me at least 5 years based on the quality and what I've really invested in my time of checking out this store, being like, okay, the stuff they sell is pretty good. it lasts. It's not going to fall apart on me. So if I spend this money, it's going to have that return on investment. Now, contrast, I need a purse right now. I can't wait. There's an event coming up. I need a purse right now. You're stuck with whatever is out there. So part of my shopping strategy in business and in life is when I recognize that certain signs are coming up for me, such as, okay, I'm going to need to invest in something for a website. I need to shop around for a long-term investment. I need to change my email. Long-term investment. I am going to be building connections with certain people to grow my business. Again, a long-term investment. And that can take months, that can take years, but recognizing ahead of time what's coming in and what's going to possibly change and building that foundation, being like, that's what I need to do. So if I'm shopping, sometimes it takes me 3 months of knowing exactly what I want. And I think ahead of time of what I want. And then when it's time to go buy it, I don't have to return anything. As opposed to, oh, it's now summer. I need to get sandals. Oh, well, this is all that's available. Well, I don't actually like this. I don't like any of this. And I'm stuck. I have to get it. Or, oh, I suddenly need to have like a client, but I'll just take anybody and they become a nightmare. And or I need a partner. I'm lonely. Oh, I'll just take this one. This one came along. I mean, Tinder's so bad for that. It really is. I look at that as like bottom of the barrel bargain shopping. So I'm not hungry. When I'm shopping, when I'm planning, I'm not hungry. I'm just planning. And this is the same thing why I teach my clients the way I do. And I say you create your birth plan first before you even get pregnant, ideally, or before you're far enough in your pregnancy that you're just taking whatever you can get. Because if you take whatever you can get, you can be screwed. You can be screwed over by somebody. Somebody will say it's the super best thing. Go invest all your money and time into that. And you get bait and switched and you get screwed over. So be intentional is key number 1. 2, plan how much you're going to spend in the beginning. Now you might up the price. However, it's like, this is the bare minimum that I'm going to spend. This is the mid-tier of what I might spend if there's an upsell that seems like a good deal. And I'm absolutely not going any higher than this in my investment right now. Maybe in the future, when I've built up trust, I might go higher. However, I'm still testing things out. Like, I'm going to go on this date and I'm going to spend a tiny little bit, but I'm not going to break the bank because I don't know this person. Oh, we've been going out for a few months. I'm going to give them a little bit, but I still don't know them well enough. So I'm not going to give them everything. Or, I mean, if you're not into a relationship yet, but you can see potential in the future when you're healed, it's like, I'm going to invest in this friendship and I'm going to give a tiny little bit of my magic. But I'm not ready for a big commitment. I'm not ready to date yet, but I'm going to keep that door open. I'm going to keep that iron hot and I'm going to keep watching. But if I put too much in, I'll ruin the friendship. That's the worst thing you can do is when you put all of that time and energy into somebody and then you realize that actually you're better off friends. You could break somebody's heart. I mean, especially if you know how magical you are and you know your power. You don't want to do that. And the opposite of that, which I've also done, is you give and give and give to somebody. And then you realize later on once you're emotionally invested, that what they're giving you back is crumbs. And they're hurting you. And they're destroying everything that you're trying to build. I mean, I've had friends that have done that to me, where I would give and give and give, and they'd go and steal my husband. I've had people who I've invested in who just stole my money and my time. I've had work, jobs that I gave my heart and soul to, but the company did not care about me one little bit. And the second that anything went wrong, guess who got to be the scapegoat and got fired? So when you recognize that you really need to have those boundaries, it's like, how much are you really going to invest before you get a return? And then as you start to get a return on that investment, how much more are you willing to invest to get a bigger return in the future? And then where's the cutoff before you get the final commitment to be like, I'm all in? Because that's the other thing. In love, if you're dating to marry, you want to make sure that that commitment is solid. You want to make sure that that is your ride or die partner. That is the one that you would go to and just be like, I am all in. And no matter what hits the fan, I've got your back and you've got mine. And we're going to do this. And we are not going to break up. Like, we are together. We are not running away from this. But in order to find that, you have to be clear on your boundaries. You have to be clear on what you're looking for. You have to be perfectly clear on the level of investment and what you know you're going to get back before you go all in. You can go 99%, but until you're all in, always hold back that little bit. Always. So in terms of investing, it's the same thing. If you throw all of your money at something and then it doesn't go anywhere, what have you just done? Now, I have known my business is going to be incredibly successful. Everyone I've talked to, I keep getting those hints over and over, just how successful it can be. And I'm also a reflector. So I take a lot of samples of energy from other people and other people's thoughts, and I filter it. And the same thing you want to do when you're shopping for anything is you don't go to just one store. You go to multiple stores. If you're looking for something specific, you go and you look at multiple stores and you price, like you look at them and you compare the prices, you compare what's out there, you think about what's really going to work for you, and then you select the store, and then you select the item. But you don't just go to one store, ever. Unless you know that that store can be trusted. If it's a source where you can trust that source, then you can shop there all the time. You become a loyal customer. You get extra perks. You know when the sales are. You know when you can get the most of a bargain. You also know when the new stock is coming in. As I said, when you really pay attention to how you shop for things, you'll recognize why other things in your life aren't working. Because are you the kind of person who, when you go into a store and there is an overly cheerful and very, very good at their job salesperson, no matter what they're selling, even if you didn't want it, are you likely to crumble under the pressure and buy? If that's you, you need stronger boundaries. And you need to know your worth. You need to know your value. Are you the kind of person who shops last minute for things? If you realize you need something, are you shopping last minute? If you are, then you are in a scarcity mindset, my friend, and you are looking for just anything you can get. And that is when you're going to end up taking that client, or you're going to go out on that date, or you're going to invest in that person because that's what's just come along. And again, you're going to get screwed. You're going to have buyer's remorse. Are you the kind of person who has a shopping list, knows exactly what you want, but only sticks to that list? And even if there's an opportunity for something else that's going to benefit you, you say, that's not on the list, so I'm not going to even look at that. If you're that kind of a shopper, you're missing out on the opportunities. If you only ever stick to the plan in front of you and you're not going to be open to anything else that might come along to change that plan for the day, like, for instance, I broke 2 nails and my son needed a new backpack, and my plan originally was to do some work. My plan had to change. I was open to my plan changing because I've done a lot of transformation over the last year and recognized, hey, if my plan changes, there's probably something on the other side of that. And there was. There was a connection with someone who just, he sat down, he was talking to me. He's really awesome to talk to. He's going to check out my YouTube channel. He's going to tell others about me. And I mean, I'm standing for him now. Like there's another networking connection. He has a success mindset. So damn straight, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be open to who needs my light today. He obviously needed my light today. I was happy to give it. And I mean, I had time available to do that. And then I went and I got my nails done. And I got this backpack for my son, and they had a sale and I got my purse. My purse was in. So it was a good day. That otherwise wouldn't have happened if I stuck to my plan. There's many times I've noticed that when I stick to my plan, I miss out on things. So I'm no longer rigid with my plan. And the final one, are you the kind of person that when you see a sale, oh, you suddenly have to buy everything because it's on sale, and you buy too much? If that's you, well, sometimes we take too much at once and then we can't handle it. We're not intentional. We overfill our calendar. We burn ourselves out in our energy. And we make all these plans when we're in that high, and then we're exhausted and depleted later. And that's the other thing. I don't make super big plans. My plans are very flexible now, even with my connections. I will deliberately shorten the time that I have allocated to people. And I'll say, I have an hour. And then I also give myself a time buffer to be like, if this continues to light me up, I'm going to go over that. But if this is this isn't it, I know I'll be done in an hour and I can move on to something else. And I can even cut that time short. So if you go into a store that has a sale, but everything in that sale does not light you up, you do not have to buy just because there's a sale. I don't care if it's a one-day sale. I don't care if it's a BOGO sale. I don't care if it's 95% off. Everything must go. You don't have to buy just because they're selling something and because it's cheap. Because, you might buy too much and then you're stuck with it. You don't want to do that. So this again ties into, if there's too much opportunity, and you're just trying to seize everything, you end up depleted. And I mean, there's other buying habits that I can get into. If you've got some ideas, you can always put it into the chat, the comments, and let me know. And I mean, I do this for fun. So I could always do a part 2 to this video if you're really curious. But I just wanted to put that out there that when you're shopping, you need to make sure what the return on your investment really is and if what you're buying was really what you wanted. Because who knows? Maybe the thing that you wanted before that wasn't on sale or that you thought you couldn't buy yet or couldn't get at all, maybe, just maybe, you just didn't wait long enough. Maybe that was just about to come on sale or come onto the market, but you didn't know that and you took whatever you could get. And then you have buyer's remorse because you realize what you could have had. If only you had waited just another week or even just a few days. But you know, there is no shame in returning something that you bought that you realized wasn't it. Sometimes a return is better than getting stuck with something that's really not lighting you up, especially if that thing is keeping you from what you really wanted. So if you've got no room for anything else in that closet and you try to buy the thing you really want, something's got to go. Might as well be the thing that you didn't want in the first place. Go return it and get what you really wanted because it's available. Now, I am going to go and rest for the rest of the day and enjoy another hour and a half of peace and quiet because it's back to school. My kids are back at school and they're going with their dad this weekend, which means that I've got even more time and I've already got my nails done. So I don't know what I want to do this weekend. I mean, if an opportunity presented itself, I am flexible. I haven't decided to buy anything. I've decided to wait for what I really want. And I know that it will present itself soon because I usually do manifest what I want. I am an excellent manifester. And when you trust that what is meant for you will find you, that you don't have to buy right away, that you can take your time, make sure it's what you really want, and work through any blocks to getting it, any obstacles, save up for it, and then go all in. Well, the reward is all the sweeter for it. So sometimes it's nice for me to save up for something I really, really want, a really good investment. And then I just put the money in and I get it. And it's like, I worked for it. I earned this. I earned this reward. And I mean, that's in business and that's in life and it's in shopping too. I love it when I've saved up money and I just go and I get my wardrobe. And then I get to enjoy that wardrobe because the return on the investment is I look really good on camera. I look really good when I'm out in public and I attract people to me that are just absolutely loving my style. And they are telling me how confident I am. It's like, you seem fearless. You just go after what you want. What is your secret? And now I have a YouTube channel So I tell them, it's like, oh, you can check out my YouTube channel. I've got a whole thing on fear. I mean, I don't have time to get into it, but if you really want to know my secret, it's open to the public now. I did that on purpose because my return on investment of doing that over the summer is going to pay off and give other people the light without me having to give away my time and energy to do it. Thus, those investments will come back in some way. The ripple effect. A drop in the ocean creates ripples. Many ripples create waves, and enough waves change the tide. And I am shopping for my success every single day by paying attention to what magic I can put out there and where the return on investment is going to be. And I might not even see it. But I also, in my business and in my life, have a pay it forward policy. So I'm going to tell you the same thing that I tell all of my clients and all of those who follow me in my newsletter and on all of my content, to pay it forward. If you found value in this, then pay it forward and pass it on. This is available on YouTube. I have my YouTube channel and I have my Get Past Your Fear Phoenix method, which you can also just easily download on my website, empoweringmomsbirth.com/Phoenix. This is how I rose from the ashes, how I am fully expressive, how I get past my fear. And I'm happy to give that to you because fear is what keeps you buying things that you don't need. Fear is what also stops you from investing in yourself or in things that are actually going to light you up. You're told not to buy just as much as you're told to buy. And you might be buying the wrong things if you're making it from a place of fear, those decisions. So if you're planning from a place of fear and scarcity, you're just going to keep getting the same things that are not going to light you up. But if you are intentional with it and empowered, which is my favorite word, when you're empowered and you're in your power and you're fearless, suddenly making those investments and those commitments, you're making them for the right reasons. You're shopping from a savvy perspective, not from ego. So yeah, again, empoweringmomsbirth.com/Phoenix. Get my Phoenix method. As I said, I've put my magic out there. You can have that. If it helps you, tell others, pay it forward. And if you do want to work with me, well, there is a middle path. There's always a middle path. You can invest some money or some time and you can provide some value to me, and there's going to be a value exchange in some way, some shape or form. There's going to be a value exchange. I mean, then there's the higher end. I am a coach. I am expensive. I make no apologies for that because I now know that the most important thing is my energy, my time, and I need compensation for that. And I can say no to anything with my glass slipper method. Am I even going to stick my foot into that glass slipper? We shall see. Because there are some people, some types of people, you couldn't pay me $10 billion to work with. It would drain me. It just wouldn't be worth it. So, go be a savvy shopper. Make sure that you are investing wisely. And if you're inclined, go get my Phoenix method. Tell others, tell the world, share my stuff because I'm here to bring light to the world. As a reflector, that's part of my job. And I love to do it. And I love you and go have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.